California used to not be as bad as it is. You know, when I was a kid growing up, it was not what it is today at all. I mean, it wasn't necessarily gun friendly, but you could go out in the desert and shoot, you know, a lot of stuff, and you'd never get messed with unless, you know, somebody, you know, it was the middle of the night and somebody complained, or you're near somebody's property. But that whole state, it used to be much more conservative than it is, and it's a progression that you don't really see happen until it's happened, and then it's kind of too late.
Well, there's a lot of places in California that you still could do certain stuff like that, like England Empire, San Bernardino, places like that. There's people that still carry in their truck, and they're like, because it's like ranch type of area where they, you know, so and then also Orange County down, so like Orange County, Mission Viejo, all those areas, they're red states, you know, they're very Republican, and a lot of them still have their laws for guns, because I remember during COVID, when, you know, how it was hard to get ammo and the lines were crazy to get into the stores and all this stuff. I remember a lot of the people that were buying ammo were actually from South County, and you could tell, like, these ladies, their husbands probably send them out, and they were buying like the big old cases of ammo, one of each, and like we would be like, damn, I wouldn't expect them buying it, but South County, you know, they're Republican, South County.
Yeah, Orange County's always been that way. It kind of, maybe not so much as it was like maybe in, you know, the 90s and 2000s. And then you got San Diego County, which is, you got the military bases down there, so that kind of by default makes them more conservative, because liberals don't like military bases. But yeah, no, there are some conservative pockets, and even like the Central Valley, it's not till you hit like Sacramento or LA, or, you know, they're high population density areas that influence the majority of what happens in the state. And it's unfortunate, because, like, you know, years ago I'm sure there probably is still talk of just breaking California into 3 states, because it really is 3 different states.
No, correct. And the thing that sucks about it, man, is that the places with the strictest gun laws have the highest gun crime. It don't make sense.
Isn't that weird how that always works out?
It don't make sense. It's just like San Francisco. San Francisco, man, is like, if everybody and anybody that goes to San Francisco knows that you gotta not leave anything inside your car, because as soon as you get to San Francisco, any touristy place, your windows are gonna get broken if they see a bag or anything there. Oakland is something's gonna happen down in Oakland. Then you get to LA now, and LA, something's gonna happen, and it's just nuts, man. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you got people that just leave their windows down in the middle of the night because they're tired of paying to get them replaced.
Correct.
Yeah, no, it's an odd association of the most strict gun law states or cities end up being the ones with the most crime. So it's a weird phenomenon that I don't think anybody has figured out yet, that criminals know that if you don't have guns, they can go rob all your stuff without any fear of repercussion.
Correct, because they think they're making it hard for people to buy guns, but are criminals gonna go and buy a gun legally? No, they're criminals. They're gonna find a way around it. But then
by definition of criminal, they're already not doing what the normal people are doing.
Exactly. So it's only affecting citizens that actually want to arm themselves and protect themselves that those laws are actually affecting. And that's what they don't understand, man.
Well, yeah, to me, I think at this point, because it's been going on for so long, I think part of it is just, it's the principle of the argument that they don't want to give up. And if they say now we're pro-gun, then they'll be like, what about those 30 to 40 years you were anti-gun? I'm not saying that's all of it, but I think probably is a little bit of it. It's just so dug in, man. That.
Yeah, you're right. It's a lot, because then all the people that got arrested, all the people, you know, everything. So it's like when you say a lie, right, and you're so deep into the lie already that if you would have just said the truth, everything would have been fine. But now you brought this lie and you said this person and that. So now you have like 30 people in this one lie. And even if you get caught, you're not going to admit it, because now you're just going to make everybody look stupid. You know what I mean? I think that's what happened with all these gun laws, man.
Yeah, no, that's certainly a part of it, is that the lie gets so deep that they don't know where the truth is anymore. and you know, when they can use these laws to lock people up and feed a for-profit prison industry, that I'm sure that's not a motivating factor at all, because look at this, the places that have, that legalize recreational marijuana. Okay, are all the people that got thrown in jail for 25 years because they had an ounce on them, are they getting let go because now you changed your mind? Because they can't, because guess what? The prison system has factored that into their budget, and if you pull all those people out, you're taking money away from them.
Correct.
And it's a sick equation that gets put into play, but it is there. Mm-hmm. It's not as easy just saying, oh yeah, okay, well this is legal now and we changed our mind. It's like, no, there's implications, and there's always money behind everything that goes on usually, and nobody likes to hand over money that they feel is theirs, and especially when it's to the opposite side that you've been fighting your whole career or life or whatever. So yeah, it's very complicated, but at the same time, it's a very easy solution of just look at it for what it is. We don't want to commit crimes. We want to just make firearms for our own personal use, for recreation, and for self-defense.
Correct.
And should something terrible happen, like we end up with a foreign country on our shores, that we have at least a shot at defending ourselves.
Exactly. We're not being trained the last minute.
Right, with cardboard cutouts of guns.
Yes, did you see that?
Yeah, because it's like with stupid ass Biden's like, well, how are you going to go against a government with nuclear weapons and jets? It's like, motherfucker, if it gets to that point, there's no more America.
Yeah.
So all we have is our guns to fight against you. So you cannot take that away.
We have cannon. Are we cool yet made a plastic cannon, bro?
A plastic cannon.
Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I don't know if they dropped it, but they were planning on making I think it was a PLA cannon, and it actually worked. I don't know if they dropped it either, to be honest.
Well, I guess it would depend on the pressure. Mm-hmm. If they can withstand the pressure, then sure, why not?
Well, remember they were selling them for a while? I forgot who bought one. I think Snow. Mr. Snow bought one?
Booligan, Mr. Snow, and there was somebody else. They were getting them from, I believe, Coach Cannon. Mm-hmm. They actually make personal cannons. And then if you go to, I think it's Primary Weapons Systems website, they sell cannon parts. Oh, so it's out there. It's just not very, not a million people a year are buying cannons, but the stuff's out there if you want it.
And now we have T-shirt launchers. So, yeah.
Shoulder-mounted T-shirt launchers.
Yeah, so now we could defeat helicopters and stuff. We just shoot them a T-shirt, hit them in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Just blind them, put it against the windscreen. They can't see anymore.
Flaming T-shirt.
Yeah.
No, man.
Yeah, it's that whole thought process of, how can you go against the government with your guns? It's like, that's kind of the point, is if it gets to the point where we're going against the government, then the country's done. We don't have America as we know it anymore. Because if you go carpet bomb a neighborhood, then that's it. We're now something else, and what that thing will be will be decided by who wins the battle. But to think that it can't happen is crazy. Yeah. It could happen anywhere.
And I don't think it's just that, man, going against your own government. But imagine if stuff gets tough, right? Who do you think the cops are gonna protect first? You think they're gonna protect the citizens, the hardworking class? The blue collar people? No, they're going to go and take care of the politicians, the people in power that are paying the bills. You know what I mean? That's why, remember when Katrina happened and they had those private militias defending Katrina, remember?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. No, they'll go where the money is.
Yeah,
just like most anybody else will. But
so at least if we have guns, we're able to protect our homestead,
Yeah, and they keep trying to flip the narrative. It's like, well, cops can't be safe if people are armed. It's like, the more people are armed, the safer a cop can be in a situation where he's outgunned by bad guys, and 5 more good guys show up that have guns on them.
Yes,
and that has happened. Cops have been bailed out by people who are armed citizens who have come to help them because they were either pinned down or whatever. They were injured and couldn't fight back, and people have come back with guns and chased off however many bad guys they may have been encountering. But no, it is to protect. It's the concept of self-preservation and self-reliance.
Correct.
That the other side has a problem with. They want the government to give you everything you need, all the, put the feed tube down your throat and keep paying your internet bill so you can just keep scrolling TikTok. They don't want us to be able to make our own decisions because it might go against something they don't like, and that's unacceptable. Everyone must be the same, and we must be this homogenous group of people that all think the same way and do the same thing because you're more controllable that way. Correct. And once we start saying, well, no, these groups want to do this group wants to do that, and we can all get along, but we all want to do different things. That's what this country was made for. Is, maybe not made for, but at one point, that was the intent of a lot of people, was to have everyone just do their own thing as long as you weren't hurting anybody else, and you were being a productive member of society in some way, form, or fashion. Then you just got left alone. But Correct. that became a threat for some reason, and it's the control thing. Look at COVID. That was all. We're going to put you in your house for a year and a half, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Ended up, for some people probably still getting the curve flattened, and it all turned out to be bullshit. And most of us knew it was bullshit as it was happening, but people they get scared, and the first thing that happens when they get scared is they run to an authority figure.
Exactly.
And like you know better, what's best for me, other than myself knowing better what's for me, because I'm me and I know what is good for me. Some people aren't like that, and they need daddy government to come and take care of them, and that's the problem. Is it's never who is it? Ronald Reagan said, never trust the phrase, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. It's because they're never here to help.
Nah, bro. Okay, so I'm going to say something real quick. Just like you said during COVID, right? During COVID, it was a test, man. They wanted to see how long people could go without complaining. You know what I used to hate the most during COVID? When there was only one person in the car with the windows up and they were wearing a mask. I would be like, what? Bro, you're driving your car. You're the only person in the car and you have a mask. It's just like having a sign saying, yes, daddy.
Yeah, that's a little extreme. And I still see it. There's still people roaming around with I don't know. And my line of work, I am around the medical industry, and hospitals and everything have always kind of been kind of strict about sanitation, especially with operating rooms and whatnot. But once everyone in the hospitals started being like, this is kind of bullshit, because one, the masks they're telling everyone to wear don't work.
Nope.
And the ones they do want to work, you have to have fitted. And if you don't have a fitted mask, it's worthless.
Exactly.
And you have to change it every 8 hours.
Yep.
And no one's doing that.
Nope.
So what's the point?
They're just telling you to wash it. I have a friend, and she's a registered nurse, and she was telling me that half of the people at the hospital, because she works for Kaiser, and she was telling me that more than half of the doctors and staff at the hospital, they weren't getting vaccinated. The only reason they started getting vaccinated was when they were making that thing where you could lose your job if you didn't get it. And look at what happened now. COVID left because there's a war. And in order for us to be part of the war and help Ukraine, support them with gun laws and say, hey, it's okay for Ukraine to have guns. So all these people that were against guns in America are now saying that it's okay for people that are not American to have guns. But then when that war ends, they're going to be like, well, no, Americans can't have guns. But the people at Ukraine need freedom. They need guns. And now what happened to COVID? Where's COVID at? But watch, when the election comes, COVID will be back.
Well, and that was one of the fears I had when they said there's a new variant out and it's more contagious than whatever Omicron or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, here we go again. We're getting close to midterms, and now there's a new COVID variant. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed that would happen? Yeah. But no, this whole war coverage thing, and what's funny is not funny. None of it's funny, but the coverage kind of dropped offline once they started doing the Supreme Court nominee stuff, which I haven't followed at all. But it's like, well, what happened to your nonstop war coverage, and what happened before that to all your COVID coverage? Like, here's just another distraction. Here's just, it's a series of distractions that, they realize that the regulations and the restrictions they put on everybody that ruined countless lives because people lost their jobs, lost their homes, families broke up because they couldn't stand being around each other 24/7 for 2 years straight. Now it's like, oh, no, forget all that because now we're doing this thing over here in Ukraine. So just focus on that.
Correct.
And sadly, people will draw their attention over there. It's the, jingle the keys this way, and what's that? And now they forgot everything that just happened. And it's like, until we stop forgetting, we have a 2-week attention span, if that. Until that gets better, and we can hold people accountable for things they did, a year ago. I'm not saying go back 20 years on somebody, because people can change their mind. That's fine. But when you do something like they did with COVID and then just act like it never happened, dude, we're just going to repeat that again at some point, and it'll be worse next time because they got away with it this time.
Yes.
So what can they do next time? They're just going to push further.
No, I mean, and then like Dr. Fauci. Where's Dr. Fauci? I haven't seen him. And remember, he was on our TV every day.
Every day.
Some of these kids that were born during COVID, they probably thought Dr. Fauci was the president, to be honest.
Could be. Yeah, no, he was all over, and he's still there. He did some interview where he's like, we should probably look at going back to our old restrictions, and everyone basically just told him to get fucked, because it's like, I don't even left or right, everyone's just had it at this point.
Yeah, nobody. A lot of people. You know what? Like I tell people, COVID actually was a good thing in a way, because it got a lot of people didn't have time, so a lot of people started doing research and looking up stuff and realizing, nah, wait a minute, this is all BS. So even my mom, my mom kind of started noticing that it was BS. You know what I mean? So that helped for a bit, because it opened people's eyes to realize, yo, this is a bunch of BS. And that's why I'm kind of thankful in a way, but at the same time, it did mess up a lot of people's families and livelihoods.
Yeah, I think it's a useful event as long as people don't forget it. Like, don't forget everything. Because I was talking with somebody, and I had brought up some regulation or some stat that came out in the first 6 months of the lockdowns. And they're like, that never happened. I'm like, motherfucker, that happened a year and a half ago. Yeah. And I showed them the news article. They're like, I don't even remember that. I'm like, this is why we're bound to repeat these things, is because it's just and people just have so much going on. There's just so much to take in the world, with everything from anything online to the news to what's going on at work to their kids to this everything, that you get sensory overload, and your brain can only retain so much of this to where it starts dumping information. And if the COVID lockdowns aren't affecting you anymore, well, just dump all that stuff that happened when you were going through hell for 2 years straight, and it's infuriating on many levels, because now that a lot of it's ending, are these people that got fired because of these laws and regulations that you're now admitting weren't good and weren't effective? Are they getting any compensation for what you did to them for 2 years? I mean, I know they got their Biden bucks, but that only gets you so far.
Yeah. Well, haven't you noticed now that supposedly now they're going to start giving out gas funding or something like that?
The gas cards. Yeah, that's stupid. It's amazing what they'll do with our money. It's really, it's very impressive, the ideas of how they can spend our money.
Last time I got a text message on my phone saying that if I got another booster shot, I would get a $25 gift card to Target.
25. Wow.
What can I do with 20? Bro, you can't do nothing in Target. I mean, if it would have been Walmart, wow, Walmart's a little bit cheaper, but Target is expensive, man.
Right. Adjust the gift card for inflation, and then you can maybe get somebody to come in there.
Exactly. Right. I'm going to start printing a bunch of lowers at 10%, and I'm going to take them to buyback programs. Like a bunch of harlots, man. I wonder if it works. You think it works?
The stories I generally hear from people is if you're not bringing a complete gun, that they won't take them. And if you're just bringing a lower, I'm sure it worked in the beginning. It probably fooled some of the, police departments, right. But I think they're kind of catching on to it now, because I've got a trash bag full of, defective lowers and frames that I've, not finished because of, that's always been the thought, maybe I can drive out to, because for a while I thought they were going to do that down in Nevada. I was like, I could head down there and see if I can make a few bucks off this. But then people are like, no, they tried this in Baltimore and they said no because of this and that. It's not serialized. It's not this. I'm like, well, these are all the things they hate, so they should want it off the street,
exactly.
Right?
Now imagine they oh, it's you. You're the one that's printing them, and then they come to your house and see your damn printers, bro. Have you seen the Canada ones? I think they've been doing a lot of Canada busts, and they're like, you could find some Chairman One frames and stuff like that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
And
well, they're finding the FGC 9 in Myanmar.
Yeah,
Myanmar?
I think
That-
I think because they're going through a civil war or something. And,
yeah, so it's just the files get everywhere.
Yeah.
there is no stopping it.
No, I mean that's what it was made for. To be honest, that's what me and Trent were talking about. Trent says that he wants to build something that it could be worldwide, and I believe in that too. I believe everybody should be able to take care of themselves and arm themselves and protect themselves, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now that a lot of people are not noticing, and the only way to protect yourself is by being armed, because history repeats itself, man. History repeats itself.
It always does, and we're only 200 and almost 250 years old as a country. We're the youngest country, the youngest civilization on the planet. Democracy is only not democracy, but our version of democracy or republic has only existed since 1776. That is infancy compared to some of these other countries where they've had thousands of years of history, and we haven't had a chance to repeat much history.
Right.
But we're damn sure going to repeat the worst parts, because those are the parts that always get handled the worst.
Exactly.
And yeah, with the guns, it's my view of it's always been, as far as the deterrence against tyrannical governments, is the guns are there as a way to prevent the government from just taking over outright. They know they have to go into it with a fight, and if they fight, they probably lose, but they'll either lose or gain public support. So therefore, they don't fight because they know they'll be going against armed citizens. Once you take away the armed citizens, there's nothing to stop them.
No,
at all. And they're not honest. None of them are honest. Some of them are good politicians, but government in whole is not an honest institution. No. It rules with a gun. You don't pay your taxes, you go to jail for 25 years. You get caught with, a drug that you were only doing and not harming anybody else with. Well, guess what? That's your third strike. That's life in prison.
And the Reagan era, remember the 80s? Yeah. The Reagan era messed up a lot of people. I mean, look, we'll put it this simple. Look at what's going on with CRS, right? Mm-hmm. He got caught for something that he didn't even do, man. He didn't build anything.
No, he was advertising. He was being sponsored by somebody who sold a piece of art, essentially.
He never touched it. And he's getting charged for stuff that he didn't even commit. In Florida,
he's getting charged with conspiracy and all this other crap. It's crazy.
Stepped foot inside of Florida, man. He never went in Florida. Nothing like that, And look at what's going on with him. And conspiracy. So that means that obviously conspiracies are true. Like that. That's all it's telling me that.
Well, conspiracies just mean people conspired.
Yeah,
they just got together.
Yeah, like
conspiracy.
Correct,
the conspiracy theory is just like the way to kind of minimize actual conspiracies. Mm-hmm. It's not like it's a myth or it's paranoia. No, people conspire to do bad shit all the time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for him, it's like all he did was just he was sponsored by and advertised for somebody who drew with an etched something on a piece of metal that the ATF, as far as I know, even admitted you couldn't take those parts and make a machine gun. It was a blueprint to make an auto sear.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even take what he was selling and convert it. That was just a drawing. So okay, now if I have a T-shirt that has a picture of an auto sear or a Yankee Boogle on it or anything like that, or any of these things, if I just have the mere image of it, now I'm in trouble for possession or intent or conspiracy.
Or let me say something real quick. Just like, remember when Epstein got raided and he had that picture of Bill Clinton with high heels?
Oh, the painting in his house or the painting on the island? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So now let's say that picture is promoting an ex-president dressed in a provocative way. Would he got in charge with pornography?
Possibly. But I think, who was it? Roosevelt used to be the cross-dresser, or which one was it?
Oh,
That's nothing.
what?
Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but that's nothing new to the
I
office
mean,
of the presidency.
and then now remember, the guy that was at John Crump's show that he made a picture of, I guess Trump holding a gun.
Oh, was that the last one where you had that artist
Yeah, yeah,
on?
yeah. So now then,
Yeah.
now they could say that this picture is an actual what do you call it when you threat somebody? Yeah, like he was threatening somebody's life. I mean, it's just that's what they were trying to say, the lawyers, I guess. That
Yeah.
how could you? It's a picture now. It's a different realm, man. This is insane. You know what I mean? If you're trying to charge somebody for a drawing, it's like if I draw a picture at school that I'm bored and I draw a picture of myself like offing myself off. You know when you were a kid and you would doodle stuff at school. Now you could get charged for that. Like it don't make sense, you know?
Well, there's a kid that I know one kid got kicked out for making a Lego gun, but I think there was one kid that got even kicked out because he had a piece of toast and he took bites out of it and it ended up being in the shape of a gun and was running around probably the cafeteria. And it was like, I think it was actually in Texas, maybe. But that story does exist where it was like a piece of toast shaped like a gun and the school kicked him out, sent him home. It's like, this is just, it's going to be interesting to see how far the crazy goes before it finally burns out.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem to be slowing down, and it's only getting crazier.
That's insane, man. So I have another question for you. What do you like printing the most? Do you usually print PLA or what's your favorite type of printing material that you like using?
The majority has been PLA plus. I started with all eSun. It was just the most consistent at the time, and rumor has it there's been quality issues of late, but I haven't bought any in quite a while because I bought a bunch. I think it's JMO used to sell it for like $15 a roll and free shipping, so I just bought a ton.
For real?
Yeah, they still sell it cheap, but their shipping is like $50 now. It's crazy. But it used to be like almost $15-$16 a roll out the door. So I got a bunch of that. But watching all of P80 Ralph stuff, what he's been doing with the Proto Pasta HTPLA. I've been using that lately, and it's really good. I haven't really stretched the legs on it too much for testing without, because you can anneal that filament and make it more heat resistant.
Yeah, that's
stronger.
what I saw last time. I guess you could do it in sand or salt. And yeah, I was like, what? But I guess you have to make it a little bit bigger because it shrinks. But like you said, I'm a big fan of eSun. I've never had issues with eSun. And I buy it. I bought a roll recently, and it's been perfect for me. I know how I've seen people complain about the quality is different, but I've always used either eSun or this other brand that is American, that's American made. Let me see real quick what it's 3D Solutech.
Oh, Solutech. Yeah, something like that. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've used that too. That's good stuff. And with the eSun thing, it could have just been a bad batch that a bunch of people got a hold of, and it's been fine since then. They've been pretty consistent as far as I've seen.
Yeah, but for PLA Plus, I love eSun, that one. And then I tried Sunlu or something like that for PLA.
Sunlu,
yeah, the PLA.
It's basically eSun. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
really?
basically
It
eSun
is?
too.
I didn't know that.
Some of it is. I know their black and white is the same as eSun. I think some of their other colors, and they might. One of them's OEMing for the other type of thing, where they just sell certain colors under different brands. I'd say the best resource I've seen is what Hoffman Tactical has done, where he actually has like graphs and charts of the different types of PLA pluses and what their strengths and weaknesses are, and he'll recommend certain materials. But there's the material science of this whole 3D printing world, I think, has accelerated a lot, and I like to think part of it is because of what we're doing.
Correct.
And the new stuff coming out that even has yet to be tested, there's so many choices out there. But yeah, go to the basics like eSun or Duramic or even Sunlu, I've had fine with that, as long as it's PLA Plus.
Yeah, PLA
as long as
Plus.
It's PLA Plus, it should be good. And it's but the downside is, and no matter what brand you get, it's always going to be prone to heat. either warping or deformation. I know Peter Ralph ran a Glock with I think he got to 150 rounds of continuous fire before the part where the locking block sits in the frame started to deform and melt, and he couldn't shoot it anymore. So all PLA Plus is going to have that problem. But if you stick with the name brands, you should be okay. But yeah, the HTPLA stuff looks pretty promising if you can get the dimensional part of it down. I know he's got it down to where you only have to adjust the Z by like 0.1%, or maybe it was 1%. But yeah, with the annealing, you're going to get some change in shape with the heating and it kind of the crystalline structure reforming itself. But if you can get that frame with that material and annealed, you've got a rock solid frame. It's almost as good as a regular polymer frame gun with the heat resistant qualities.
Okay. So check this out. I have tried that Solutech or whatever it's called, the PLA filament. They only do PLA, I guess. But what I did was my mom, she has a Honda, and the fob key where the inside of the fob key, I printed that out for my mom, and I made it in a pink and black. And
cool.
And she was using it for a long time. So now you remember we live in California, and California, the heat's been acting up. So she's always using that to drive, and that's where the key goes in. So she's twisting and turning. The first time I printed it out, it actually lasted almost 6 months of being used consistently. Now this time I ended up printing it with PLA Plus East Sun, and it's actually lasted almost a year. So
nice.
Yes, and this is constantly using. And my magazines, like my Mendes mags, I use East Sun PLA Plus, and like I was telling Trent, I could leave them loaded for a couple of months. I gotta say, like maybe 3-4 months, like fully loaded till I start noticing problems.
Yeah, I've got one. It's in only because I hated the color. I made one in it was eSun, and I got the brown because I wanted to see if it was even close to like an FDE, and it is not. So I printed 2 mags, a 17 and a 33 round mag.
Yeah.
Fully loaded them and just threw them in a box in my gun safe.
Correct.
They've been there for over a year.
Yeah.
And I'll cycle through them every so often, and they feed fine. But they're also sitting in a temperature controlled area.
Correct,
they're not being fired, so they're not getting the heat from the gun as they're being shot. So yeah, that would affect it definitely.
Yeah,
but as far as it holding up just in a controlled environment, that stuff holds awesome.
No, yeah, they do.
They just got to make the key fob thing in nylon or polycarbonate, like the glass filled stuff, and it'll probably last forever.
Yeah, that's what I want to try.
This stuff is very durable.
Have you tried that, man?
I have, right before we started this, I had just pulled off the Halo Glock, Bulligan's Halo Glock in a Polymaker PC, and it's pretty good. I'm still figuring out the whole high temperature game, but it's got a little bit of a warp to it, but the print quality is very clean. Once you get your settings in, it's very good to print with. It's just what I'm trying to work on is like long flat surfaces staying straight, and it's just got a tinge of a warp to it. So I'll probably put it together and see if the slide even cycles on it, which I think it should. But once you get the settings in, there's a lot of guys out there that'll help out with this, with a lot of setting suggestions. But the one thing that I kind of took away from a lot of them is print hot, print slow, and have your travel speed be real fast. That way you keep stringing down, but go very slow with it. Like, don't do the 70 millimeters a second speed, anything like that. Like this one, I did it, I think 30, and then 20 or 25 for the outer walls, just so the outer walls went a little slower and looked a little better as far as layer lines. Yeah. And it feels great. It feels solid. And no real problems with stringing at all. There's one like bridging part that I screwed up on, but other than that, it came out really good, and it feels strong. And there's a lot of guys out there that have been printing with this a lot longer than I have that swear by it. My main gripe with it is you can only get it in black and white and gray. There's no cool colors, nothing flashy, but they're supposedly they hold up great, and they're heat resistant, so it kind of takes care of the problems that PLA Plus, the one or two flaws that it has, kind of takes care of that, and you'll have a longer lasting part. And even with just, not gun stuff, because believe it or not, you can print not gun stuff with 3D printers. Like you said, you can actually do useful things.
Yeah, you could. So I have a question. What have you tried Polymaker?
Yeah, that's what I used for this frame, was the Polymaker PC.
Mm-hmm.
So it's supposedly out of the polycarbonate family, because there's like PA6 and PA12 and the ones they sell, and then there's other polycarbonates and carbon fiber nylons that other vendors sell.
Yeah.
The Polymaker PC, I heard, was the easiest to print with because it's not as prone to getting moisture in the filament,
mm-hmm.
and the consistency, it's a little closer to printing like PLA than a nylon would be. Nylon can be very finicky, and it is also very hygroscopic. It'll absorb water like crazy. This particular roll, I don't have it enclosed in the printer, and it sat out for maybe 3-4 days in my basement, which has got moderate humidity. I think it's like at 30% maybe at the worst. And it printed fine with no stringing or anything like that. No popping, nothing crazy. So that's kind of my I'm baby stepping into this, because the nylon stuff can get a little pricey.
Yeah,
so I don't want to burn through a bunch of it learning.
That's what I was going to ask you. So you know how for nylon and stuff like that, people say you need like a cover for your printer. What is it called? The
enclosures.
Yeah, enclosure. Have you tried that or no? What do you think?
I've got the Polymaker stuff. You can print as low as, I think, 250 or 260.
Yeah.
And I have one of my printers, I've gotten it up to 265, and I was able to print with it. It's out in the open. It's a Viper, Anycubic Viper.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like an Ender 3, the moving bed. And then I have a Qidi Plus. It's QIDI. I think it's how you pronounce this, Qidi or Cheedy.
Yeah.
That one it comes with a regular print head, but they send you a second print head that can get up to like 305, I think.
Okay.
And that one, the printer itself is already built as an enclosed printer. Mm-hmm. So you just slap the sides on it and close the door, and it'll print. And I haven't noticed a tremendous difference between the two. But with any open printer, you're always prone to different environmental elements. Not everyone's going to have the same result. In Florida, they probably always have to enclose and dry their filament.
That must suck. Could you hear me?
What was that last part?
Oh, I said that must suck, because their humidity is really bad.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible down there. You get off the plane, and it's like you feel like you're having to breathe heavier to get oxygen in. Especially coming out, California to there. It's a heck of a climate change.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even down south, they'll have the same problems with just tons of humidity in the air. So a lot of those guys will just use dryer boxes and stuff like that. But I'd say enclosed is probably always better with these not PLA type filaments, just because and even PETG, it'll absorb moisture faster than regular PLA. Where PLA you can leave out for long time and it'll be fine. But the other nylons and carbon fibers and stuff like that, they'll tend to absorb moisture a lot faster, and you'll hear it coming out of the nozzle. You hear popping, and you'll see steaming coming out. Almost looks like it's burning, but it's just the water getting evaporated out of it, correct. And it'll screw the whole print up. You get bubbles everywhere. So, but the Polymaker stuff I hear is kind of like a good jumping off point for learning the differences between the two, and then from there you can start stepping up in complexity, I guess. Yeah,
I need to try it. I have a question. Why is Proto pasta so expensive?
It just looks so damn good.
So you printed stuff with it, and it comes that the quality is really nice, or?
They got great colors. They can put the additives into it without affecting the structural quality too much.
Yeah.
A lot of the filaments that come out is like, oh, this is Starry Night and it's blue and it's all sparkly and everything. You go to print it and you can literally break it apart in your hands because it's got so much additive that the layers can't really properly adhere to one another, the PLA itself. But with Proto pasta, they with a lot of it, not all of it, but with a lot of their stuff, they get away with it. it lasts. Even the HTPLA stuff that I use, I don't anneal it, at least not yet, and it's held together. And it's just, yeah, it's for the looks of it. It looks really good. It's well made. It's very consistent. It's made in, I think it's made in the U.S., which would explain why it's more expensive.
Oh, that's
It's not coming from China.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's not cheap. It's $60 a key for a roll. So you better be sure what you're printing when you go to use it.
No, yeah, I saw that because I bought some eSun PLA Gold, the silk version. I wanted to do like a lower, one of those Gucci lowers in the silky gold. But when I went on to try to print it, I was having a lot of issues with that, with the silky gold.
Yeah, the layer adhesion on any PLAs, any silk PLA it's horrible. I made just a basic FMDA 17 out of silver, and it looked awesome. And I didn't really mess with it too much. I just figured, I'll just be careful with it when I'm putting the parts together. And I went to go put the trigger pin in, and the first tap, the whole side of it cracked.
Damn.
And that's when I started looking into it more and asking around. And I was like, yeah, that stuff, the layer adhesion is terrible. It's for like, you want to make a dice tower, or you want to make a statue, something that won't be touched, won't be had any stress put on it. That's what silk PLA is for.
Yeah, man, I found that the hard way.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of people have tried the silk PLA Glocks. I know, who was it? It was a Smoky Shoot. He did silk PLA, he did wood PLA, and he did a Pet G Glock. And all three of them, shockingly, didn't make it past 1 or 2 rounds. they just shatter. They're not meant for this. What we do.
They're not. That's
but
insane.
Yeah, the PLA Plus is like that's the generic go-to for everybody until you want to start getting into the higher end nylons and stuff like that. But for what the majority of people are doing with these, it's fine. PLA Plus is great. And you got a ton of different options with colors. And like I said, the companies like Proto Pasta, and there's other ones out there that make it too, where it's not just yellow. It'll be like kind of shiny yellow, or, it's kind of silly in the end, but it just makes it look a little different and looks a little better. And, that goes back to the whole art thing, just trying to make things look cool.
Yeah. All right, man. So yeah, that's the reason that the PLA Silky is so difficult to print, right?
Yeah, it's just the layer adhesion. It's notorious for, to get that shiny look, they got to add whatever they add to it. And every time you add to the filament, if it's not aiding in the adhesion, it's just making it weaker.
Have you tried any glow in the dark stuff?
Yeah, I have one that I did. I can't remember. I think it was a Hoffman lower I did in glow in the dark. I haven't done any of the Glock frame stuff. From what I can understand, it's more prone to breaking. But I've seen people print them. I just haven't seen too many people shoot them. But the lower seems fine. I
did Mendez magazines with glow in the dark. With that brand, the 3D Solutech. How do you pronounce it?
I think it's Solutech, or I know what you're saying. It's a weird name, but
yeah, with that stuff. And actually, I really liked it. The quality was really good. The thing is that when I went back to try to buy more, it was sold out really quick. But it came out really good, man. I didn't have issues with it. If I did have issues, it was actually my fault because I think my nozzle was acting up. But the Mendez mags, they came out really nice. I think it was like one of my second or third type of print.
Yeah, it's neat. It's very abrasive, so it can do kind of funny things with the nozzle. I think was it 2A3D, the guy that makes all the back plates and base plates and just a lot of awesome stuff. He puts out a line of mag extensions every Halloween, and they're all glow in the dark filament.
Yeah,
and he would show
pictures
of the 0.4 filament that was opened up to like a millimeter because it's very abrasive.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he does that he did like a ghost for the mags and stuff like that. His stuff is really good, man. I like his stuff actually.
I love his stuff. He's awesome.
I actually want to get me a laser so I can start doing back plates just because of him.
They're expensive. to get a fiber laser, like a 30-watt fiber laser, it's you're in the almost $10,000 range.
That's what because I was looking into them because they have those cheap like 10-watt lasers and this and that. But I think for the stuff he's doing, because he's doing also laser stippling on the frames and all of that stuff, you need a real good laser, huh?
Yeah, you have the kind of the cheapo ones that they sell, for $200 on Amazon, where you can,
and stuff
you
that.
do like wood etching and stuff like that. Those won't get you anywhere with metal of any kind.
Not even aluminum, you think? Like if I want to do like aluminum
you might be able to etch aluminum, but you wouldn't get very deep. You know what I mean? You would get like a design on it, but you wouldn't get any depth at all.
What do you think if I want to do like designs on Mendes mags? You think it would have worked? Probably, right?
Yeah, because you're doing plastic, so yeah, they can do polymers, they can do wood, they can do what was the other thing they can do? I was looking into those a while ago, just for that type of thing, just like surface, surface
glass,
stuff on.
They could do glass.
Glass, there you go.
Yeah, because I had a friend that was doing those champagne cups for weddings. Yeah.
Yeah, no, those are good for that. Then the CO2 lasers, which are a little bit stronger, they still, if you're going to do stippling, you want it to be, I guess, to have a really good focus on the laser itself, to be a very fine focus, because you're doing detail in there. I just know everyone I've talked to that does laser work, either whether it be like slide engraving or even slide cuts. 2A3D, he's doing slide cuts on Glock slides with his, I think it's a 30 or maybe 50-watt laser.
Wow.
And it's really cool. But that's kind of where you need to go if you want to do anything on steel is the fiber lasers, and they're very expensive unless you're going to make a business out of it. It's a heck of an investment for a hobby.
No, actually that's what I was trying to go for. I was trying to do like a business where I did a lot of like back plates and stuff like that, but for like the community here where I live at, because a lot of the people they're into sports and stuff like that. So I was thinking of doing like their sports team or things like that, especially like in the Mexican culture. They're very big into their like saints. So the saint that they like a lot, where I'm from, is Saint Jude.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, people get tattoos of that guy over here, man. Yes, the Mexican community, they really that saint even has its own holiday, bro. Like they go all out. Like they have like Mexican music and beer and everything, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if there's an audience there for it, then yeah, you could definitely can make a business out of that. But
I was thinking of doing those like 10-watt lasers, but now that you're telling me I'm like, man, thank you.
They're just very limited with the power. And honestly, I would talk to him, just hit him up on Instagram. He's very responsive. And he just kind of gave me the basic rundown. So like, here's what I use for this. Here's what I use for this. Here's,
so you spoke to him about it?
Yeah, it was a while ago because I applied for a 07 FFL and I wanted to do NFA engravings.
All right,
as like a side business.
What could you do with like with an FFL? Because I've been hearing a lot about those FFLs. You know how Trent said he wants to do an FFL too. What are your possibilities when you get an FFL license?
So when you get there's like I think like 11 different FFLs that they offer, but you only really need to know, I guess, 2 of them, maybe 3. There's an O2 FFL, which you can sell guns, you can transfer guns, you can do basic stuff like that. I think you could even do consignments, I believe. So don't quote me on that.
Those are the ones that like say if you buy a gun somewhere else and then they ask you to ship it. You know how a lot of times they're like, oh, well, you need to get this shipped to somebody that has an FFL. That's what they talk about.
You can transfer a firearm to somebody who's legally allowed to take possession of a firearm. Basically, you're doing the 4473 with them as they get their gun from someone else, because they're an FFL, they're transferring to another FFL. So the only thing that matters to you is that the final FFL makes you fill out the paperwork.
Okay, so then when it comes to ammunition, because you know how some people sell ammunition online. You also have to have an FFL, and like say somebody ships you ammunition,
That's a different FFL, and I can't recall the
okay.
number on. I think it's like an 05,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. There, if you go on you don't go on the ATFs list because you'll just get lost in
Yeah, I don't want to
paperwork.
go.
But if you just type in on Google FFL types, it'll give you like a basic rundown of each one.
All right.
And the one I have is an 07, which means I can manufacture firearms.
Oh,
And
okay.
the main reason I did that is because if anybody wants to buy like like one of those Aero Precision builder sets, right? And they want me to put it together for them. If I don't have the 07, and I'm selling it to them through my FFL, if I don't have the manufacturing license, I can't put it together for them.
Oh,
And
you're
that just
the
sounded really silly to
manufacturer.
me. Yeah. So yeah, it's basically you put together your guns, but it gets to the point. It gets so basic to the point that even putting an upper and a lower together is considered manufacturing.
Oh, okay.
So if you're a standard FFL that's just selling guns, you can't put the gun together for them. It's just a silly law. But when you get an 07, anything you make, like if I make a rifle that I just put together through parts and I make myself and I go to sell to someone, I have to be able to serialize it. I think it's just on the barrel and on the lower receiver with my FFL name, I think, and a serial number. So that's when I started reaching out to 2A3D and asking him, what do you suggest for a laser for somebody who's going to be engraving metal as far as lowers, barrels, and then I started looking like, you can also do serial number engravings for NFA items like silencers, for truss engravings on silencers and stuff like that. So that's the route I wanted to go to, just because it seemed like it opened up a lot more. They asked a lot more questions during the interview process, but it covers a lot more. And then when you get an 07, if you get a SOT, if you get an O2 SOT, it's like there's 3 SOTs, and O2, you can now manufacture silencers and you can manufacture machine guns, and you can. So it's easier than it sounds, but to get to the SOT where you can manufacture NFA items, you have to be an 07 FFL.
But
first.
A lot of those like silencers and stuff like that, they're having issues with them, right now at the moment?
With the Form 1s, yeah, with people trying to submit Form 1s to do homemade ones, which is it's still legal, but they've made it impossible now because, they want you to submit a picture of all the parts you're going to use and the tools you're going to use, and then say you're going to make a silencer out of it. But the problem is, if you have all these parts and you tell them you're going to make a silencer, that means you have the intent to make a silencer.
And that
makes all those parts you have silencer parts. You've now violated the NFA.
Yes.
So
Damn.
it's
So it's a loophole. Like they're tricking you in a way.
It's the worst.
Like you're snitching on yourself because you're trying to do it the legal way. So even doing it the legal way, now you just incriminated yourself. Oh man, let's give an applause to the. There you go, to the FTA for finding a way to screw yourself legally.
That was not a mistake on their part. They knew exactly what they were doing on that one. So as far as I know, that's going to be fought at some level. But in the meantime, I think they rejected, I think the 3,000 applications went back to the state level, and of those 800 were outright rejected. So it sucks. But
I think Trump was doing a video explaining stuff like that. Yeah. That's insane,
so
man.
it's shitty, but
so at the moment
they're a little bag of tricks.
Yep. At the moment, you do have an FFL?
Yeah. I'm
Which one did you get?
FFL as of now, and then in July, I think is when you get your SOT to make the. And you can also transfer NFA items as an SOT.
Oh, okay.
You get you get it for 1 year, and that year always starts July 1st. So if you get it in December, it's only good till July 1st. So you might as well wait till July 1st to get it, and then you'll have it for a full year because it's $500 a year. That's expensive.
So now because you have that, you're able to get stuff like on Gun Broker, right? And then they ship it directly to you, and they'll ship
it to my business. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's dope, man. So now, since we're talking about this already, I have another question for you. What are you planning on doing, like your future with 3D printing and 2A and all of this stuff? What's your goal or your outcome that you have?
I just want to keep pushing it until it's just something that we do as well as buy guns. I want it to be as normal as, going out and shooting with somebody at the range and pulling out a crazy looking PCC, or maybe not the glong, but
really, doing the glong and taking a rip and shooting it, that would be a field day, bro.
No.
But you gotta be like, it's tobacco, or
of course, it's always the tobacco pipe, right?
we need to get a hold of somebody that actually doesn't do the glong, but actually does a hookah, bro. That way we could be smoking like apple flavored tobacco and shooting with like tracer bullets. That'll be fire.
That would be a hell of a video. That would be one.
And then we could do it for like gender reveals, bro, where the tracers are either blue or purple. No, I mean blue and pink instead of just being regular tracers. They have a red. They have a color. That'll be
just don't
fire.
Start a forest fire with it and you'll be good.
Remember when people were going so crazy and were doing all these gender reveals, and I think a couple people started forest fires. I think that also happened in California and Texas.
One in California, very famous, a very known one in California happened.
Oh my God, man. People were going crazy with these gender reveals.
That was a very expensive party.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's insane.
But yeah, no, I just want, like I said, kind of in the beginning, is just my role, if there is one, is just mainly advocacy and trying to get exposure to different people as much as I can, and to just show the kind of the more artsy, fun side to it. Because there's just so much creativity out there that I just, there's no end to the content that you can show with what all these guys are doing. I mean, to even try to go through the list of it would be tough. There's just so many guys out there making really cool stuff.
No, and it's amazing because, usually the very American thing that happens is when you get to a certain age, the first gun that you buy your kid to go shooting is a .22 rifle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now with 3D printing, you can make that moment more meaningful because you could get your son a 3D printer and you guys could sit there together, customize your .22, print it, and make it a bonding experience. Like, hey, son, you're becoming a man. Let me do this for you. That's what was my whole goal behind 3D printing and why I created the bento box, because it was supposed to be like something I gave to my son to take shooting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you get a little bit of time with Tinkercad, and you can start customizing stuff, or Fusion 360 ultimately. But with you can make it very personal. So you're right. It's one of those things where you can make it and take it and shoot it, and that's yours, instead of, hey, we're going to go down to not Bass Pro, because they don't sell guns anymore, but whatever your nearest gun shop is, and pick something out behind the counter.
Bass Pro does sell guns still. Well,
do they still?
Well, I don't know the one I don't know if there's one by where I live. It's the one that's on Rancho Santa Margarita. I just went to that one a month ago, and they had ammo, and they still had rifles, and they had like the whole thing, so you can make your own ammo and everything, man.
Yeah, I haven't been in one in years. I used to before
Walmart
the whole COVID thing happened. Okay. I was getting some ammo offline or online with them, but I haven't been into a physical one in forever. I just remember the gun section was getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and I just figured it eventually would disappear.
Yeah, no, it was my first time actually going to it, and I was shocked. It was nice. And even the guy was telling us, like, that their ammo is they're back in stock, because I guess for a while they were struggling, but I guess they still had like a limit where you could, I think it was like either you buy 5 pieces of it, like I think it was either 5 or 6. So what if you got 9 or 22 or 223, whatever, you could only get a certain amount.
Yeah, a lot of places still doing that too. We have Shields out here, and It was that way. I don't know if they are anymore, but they got so bad with their ammo selection. All they had was like 6.5 SPC or 6.8 SPC for the longest time, and they totally ran out of everything else. And
yeah, it was hard.
But when they would get it, it would be like, yeah, 5-box minimum or maximum or 3-box maximum. And who was it? There was another store where there was a 2-box max. And I just wanted to get some Aguila 22, and I literally could only buy 2 50-round boxes. It felt like the dumbest thing ever. I just walk up to the cash register, I'm like, here's my $8 in ammunition.
And also remember for a while they had that where you couldn't even find like 9mm at all.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Fortunately, I started getting more. The prices where they were, I was getting more ammo like in 2018, like around that time. So it's not I was sitting on a mountain of ammo, but I had enough to where kind of getting through COVID wasn't so painful. Yeah. But you get nervous, you start seeing it kind of shrink down more and more and more, and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and pay 50-60 cents a round for 9, which would just would turn my stomach. But out here they have a website where they can post classifieds for guns and ammo and anything, because it's a private transfer state, so you can do all that stuff.
Oh, that's
and there were guys selling 9mm for like $1 a round like a year ago, and it was just like, and people were buying it. They had to, if they wanted to go shoot and they were out of ammo. It's like, what are you gonna do? You can't buy it at the store. They were out.
Yeah, I think when I asked that Bass Pro Shop for the hollow points, I think they had the 20 pack for, I think it was like 20, like, yeah, for a 20 pack of the hollows it was 20, and then if you got I think the 26 or something, I think it was like $30 or 26 something. It was pretty much like $1 for one bullet of hollow point. That's crazy.
Yeah, they got up there. It still is for defensive ammo. It's still pretty expensive.
Yeah. And so then another question I have: projects are you working at on the moment that you're excited, or anything you have planned for later on?
Right now, I have not the original, but the initial arc that Invader Zip put out. I want to do some of the DLC models that he came out with, like the 22, and he's got a bunch of different versions in there. What I'm having an issue with is finding certain parts for certain builds that I want to do. Yeah, because it's getting a little weird. But they're cool stuff. But some of his stuff, there's a beta out there for a certain design based on a Glock that is happening right now. That's pretty fun, that you may or may not hear about later in your next interview. But I don't want to give away too much on that. But so that's in the works, and he's put out pictures and stuff, but I'll let him discuss it. But it's pretty neat. iPrintshit.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm part of the Discord.
The Glocknovsky.
Yeah, you're talking about the one from Mad Max, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one. Dope. Yeah. No, yeah.
I've got one assembled, and it's a beast to hold on to.
Oh, you have it already? Assembled?
Yeah, I've got it printed and put together. I haven't taken it out shooting yet, because he's got a couple modifications he still wants to do to the. We were talking about a couple features to add to it.
I saw that. I think you told them that it could be classified as I don't know what. So he's all like, it's better that I ended up just doing a crappy design than taking hours on actually making the full design, right? Because they could have been classified as machine gun or.
Well, an AOW.
Yeah, I saw that, man. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. There was that, and then there's something with the slide stop that he wants to try out that we were talking about. So, but yeah, we submitted a couple to P80 Ralph's show, so you might see that tonight.
All right, cool. Yeah, shout out to iprintshit, man. That guy is amazing. He's helped me so much.
He's a good dude. Yeah. He made my logo.
It was him. That's cool.
Yeah, he's the one that came up with it. I told him, I'm panicking. I need to make a logo for the podcast, and I'm like, I suck at art. And he's like, well, what are you thinking? And we just started talking about stuff. He's like, how's this look? And we tweak it, and it got to what we have.
Did you guys use that Discord thing or what?
What's that?
Did you guys talk through the Discord?
No, I think it was on Instagram. We were just
Oh,
chatting
okay,
through
okay.
Instagram about it. But yeah, because the whole username, the Come Out and PLA, is just like Come Out and Play, and that was from. I just thought of that from the Offspring song. So I was like, well, what if we took like that album cover and made this, but put the printer heat sink here, and he came up with all of it. I like it. It was
nice,
what I needed.
No, I liked it,
especially. He's a good dude. He's crazy though. He's crazy.
Yeah, he's cool. He helped me do the charms, so I need to finish that project so I could show it to everybody. The collab me and him and Trent are working on. And then the logo came out nice. I actually like the color scheme that I ended up doing with the promotion thing. It was nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Man. I want to see that. Yeah, he's a crazy dude. If you saw did you see the video of him?
Yeah, where he got the ticket for shooting the trees.
That was fun to watch.
For the 50
that thing went dark as soon as the first stream went dark. We're like, oh shit, is he going to jail? Like what happened? And then he popped back on. Like, ooh.
And then his friends left because it was cold, man. Did you see the mask? Like it was full of ice.
Yeah. I think it was the ice and the fear of going to jail that made his friends leave.
For real, yeah, man, that sucks. I guess he ended up paying like almost $300 for the ticket. I think the fine.
Was it that much?
Yeah,
wow.
I came out to something because I guess if he didn't say it was him, they were gonna end up giving everybody a fine or something like that. But I guess they were trying to blame him for the mess that was already there. So he just ended up saying, okay, yeah, you know what? I ended up shooting the tree. And they ended up giving him the fine, and he paid it. I think it was like $250, but yeah, something like almost with, all the fees they add to it. I think it was like $300. But I mean, it's better than getting arrested or something like that.
No, much better option for sure. But yeah, I think I remember seeing the fee part is now triggering my memory that he posted the total plus the admin fee plus this fee.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was crazy. But hey, he's got him some views, I guess.
Yeah, man, that guy's cool. So I can't believe you're doing that. That's pretty dope. So how does it feel, man? Is it like too wide in your hand, or if it's good?
No, definitely the width is going to be the challenge to figure out a good way to hold it. I don't think you're getting away without two-handed, just because the way the triggers are set up.
And you're going to have to use 2 separate mags, correct?
Correct, yep. But he's got that figured out, too.
Oh, okay. You guys are going to tape them together?
No, it's going to be one assembly.
All right. Because you know how the 22s for I think the Rugers, they have that little hole where you could put one and then switch it upside down or something. Have you seen that?
The rotary mags?
Not the rotary mags. If you get the kind of banana clip type ones for the 22s, it has like this little circle and then another one, and you connect them. So once one is done,
yeah.
You get it?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So he has all that figured out. That's gonna be dope, man.
It'll be part of the print. They're not part of the print, but it'll be included in the print. I still have to print one of those because I just use a regular 2 mags that I had because we were scrambling because we both wanted to put a submission into Ralph's roast tonight.
So it's gonna be tonight. That's gonna be dope. I'm gonna check that out. I think Flying Rich is gonna be part of that.
Yeah, him, Chairman, and 2A3D. I think is gonna be the third.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then, you know what I'm excited for? Danny Meatballs, right?
Oh, the drum?
Yes.
Yes, we're all waiting on the drum. Danny Meatball, that genius.
Man, have you printed his mags, man? The new ones?
No, not yet.
You need to, man. They're beautiful.
Yeah, no, they look great, and the skeletonized mags look really cool too.
Yeah, I need to print one of those, but just the regular mags, man. Those are my go-to mags now for printing. I'm not doing Mendez anymore. Sorry, but yeah, man, his stuff. You could tell that guy has been he took his time. He's actually, it's a work of art, man. That's all I could say.
Yeah, he put a lot of thought into it, and I can't remember who said he was working with, but they did a good job. And the fact that the drum is interchangeable, just by sliding out the stick portion of the mag, it's a really cool idea.
What? For real?
Yeah, it'll as far as I understand it, it'll be interchangeable with different magazine styles, so you can switch in between platforms
Oh, that's
by just
cool. That's gonna be cool, man. Sorry.
yeah, I think so. No, it's good.
I'm
No,
fanning out.
it's a really cool idea, and yeah, it's like I said, there's just so much out there. There's just so much
Yeah,
being done.
man.
It's hard to keep track.
Well, how do you feel, man? You're the first guy in my podcast that is gonna have two podcasts. We're gonna have to break this in half, man. It's something new for the Sabrprints 2A show. We're gonna have 2-part episodes.
You can do 3.1 and 3.2.
Yeah, something like that. I'm gonna figure it out. And you know what? It's amazing because I was getting the free version, and then I ended up, and the free version only gives me a certain amount of hours. But last night, I'm like, hey man, this thing is kind of picking up. It's going good. So I got a 50% off coupon, and I ended up paying a little bit less, and I ended up getting more hours. So it came in handy.
That's good.
Yeah.
You'll need it because if you're doing what 4 more after this.
Yeah. So I kind of had it all planned for where if I do an hour for each, it was gonna be 7. I was gonna be good. But you know, things. I'm like, man, it's actually going good. Maybe I'll start doing some type of other show. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna actually pay for a monthly fee instead, and I did that. So look at, everything happens for a reason, and things work out in mysterious ways.
Yeah, no, and I hope this goes well for you. I like the idea. I was talking with Guns on the Grave after listening to his show, and it's like there's just so we all like the printing, we all like the guns, but there's such a diverse group out there that there's plenty of stories to be told and different points of view, and yeah, it's I think it'll do well. Give people an insight to just all the different personalities that are around.
Yep. So, okay, before we leave, shout out where people could find you, and if you got anything planned or anything like that, go ahead, man.
Just the Instagram, come out in PLA or come out and play minus the Y. And then I might start doing some more stuff on YouTube. I have like 3 videos of a Xtar EP9 teardown, but the reason I want to do the video thing a little more when I have more time is just to kind of add to the awareness and show all these things in action, and even get some. I've got a couple videos of prints actually failing and then figuring out why they failed, and just to put more of the education part out there, and there's a lot of guys that do it and probably do it better than I can, but as long as more of us are doing it, I think it's all the better. So yeah, that's really it. And on Twitter, but I'm very lightly on Twitter.
Yeah, me too.
It's a very
too toxic, man.
Yeah, but it's come out in PLA is pretty much I got lucky and nobody's hijacked it yet, so
that's dope. I'll link your stuff in the description. Because it'll come out on the podcast stuff, and then I upload it to YouTube. So I'll link all your stuff, man. Thank you for being part of this. I really appreciate it. And like I also said, man, thank you for shedding light on that whole interview situation, because I had no clue about this. And I think at the moment you're probably one of the OGs that has blessed me with the podcast, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me. I'm honored that you asked me to be on and be a part of this. This is going to be exciting, and look forward to the next one you do.
For sure, man. Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Thank you, guys. That was the last of the episode with me and Come Out and Play, or Come Out and PLA. Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys stick around for the next show. I will be dropping it on Monday, and it's going to be featuring me and I print shit.